Hello again. Welcome back to the Movie Buff Reactions channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to the first movie review of 2020 from one of my top 5 favorite YouTubers of all time, the George R. Martin of film reviews, The Unusual Suspect. For those who may not know, I'm a huge fan of The Unusual Suspect. I've reacted to many of his film reviews, trailer mashups, cinema sings. He's an extremely talented guy. I just love his stuff. Great writer, very talented editor. He's done some editing for the epic rap battles. Before we jump in, he's reviewing the first film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Iron Man from 2008, and just for full disclosure, I have not, until recently, seen the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and before I went and gasped or was like, what? I just didn't get into them when they first started. I didn't see Iron Man when it came out, and around the time that the Captain America Civil War movie came out, I was like, I'll get to these eventually, and then some time passed, and I was like, I'll get to it eventually, and then more time, I'll get there, and then I saw how many there were, and I'm like, oh, Jesus. So, yeah, I just kept being like, I'll do it eventually, and then a couple of months ago, The Usual Suspect announced that his next review would be Iron Man, and it would be start this long, possibly 50-year streak of reviewing all films in the MCU. My first thought was, well, time to watch this shit. So I recently saw the first Iron Man movie, and I liked it, and I'll save my thoughts for the movie until after I finish reacting, but needless to say, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what The Usual Suspect has to say, and what little twist he has to put in the film. This review is about 45 minutes, so it's gonna be a long one, and I've rambled on long enough. Let's watch.
Suspect, you've got mail. Send it to you, yeah? Yoink. I am Iron Man. Take it a picture of me, you can. I could have a lot of fun with this. Hey, Bob,
Sure you could, Bob.
Mail. Did you see a gauntlet in a delivery package? Well, there goes my ski ideas for this review. Avengers! The Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, I don't think any other media entity gets us nerds as wet as this franchise. Ew. I mean, it used to be Star Wars on top, but that series is now divided as more now than politics has. But you'd be impressed to find many that weren't still a big fan of this behemoth. And that's mind-blowing when you think about it. I mean, Marvel always seemed to trail DC for the longest time. By the mid-80s, DC had successful on-screen adaptations of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. And what did Marvel have by this point? Well, just a single theatrical release featuring such elements as duck porn, duck tits, and duck condoms.
Quite a film.
And once you realise that because that was out of its packet, it's likely been, soiled. It was a dark time for Marvel. So what a turnaround this new cinematic universe ushered in for the company. And today, we're going to start looking through this beast with the very first in the franchise, 2008's Yep, before John Favreau was keen to ruin The Lion King, he was the guy put in charge to bring what was honestly a B-list superhero to the big screen. Yeah, unless you were a Marvel Comics fan, no one had heard of Iron Man. What, billionaire American with no superpowers who uses gadgets to fight crime? There's another superhero like that. Oh yeah, Prisoners for Powerful Girls. But of course, Iron Man is nothing but S rank now. Like, up there with Spidey and Superman. And it's thanks to the man chosen to lead this fucker, Robert Downey Jr. And much like Marvel, he too had a hell of a career turnaround thanks to this movie. I mean,
And Tropic
he was
Thunder.
not in a good shape, with stints in rehab, drug problems, prison time, and true, his career jumpstart started a fair few years before this film got made, but it was undoubtedly this movie that made him. And ironically, the moment he left the MCU, things went to shit with him again. So let's take a look, shall
Working
we?
with the wife.
Dust off your old Black Sabbath CDs, join your collection of Tony Stark memorabilia, providing somebody hasn't already made it into a bong. I'm infinity stone. This is Iron Man. Okay, starting your movie with Back in Black is an instant win in my book. AC/DC! Alright, okay, fair use, criticism exception. I like this song because it's good. Copyright laws.
I can relate.
So the film wastes no time in introducing us to the man of iron himself. And look, this intro is great, because it tells you everything you need to know about this guy in seconds. He's rich, he's incredibly charismatic, and his sexual exploits make James Bond look like Napoleon Dynamite.
Is it true you went 12 for 12 with last year's maximum cover models?
That is an excellent question. Yes and no. March and I had a scheduling conflict, but fortunately the Christmas cover was twins.
Wow, man. You sure Back in Black is your most fitting introductory song? Because I personally go for this. Everyone has AIDS. AIDS.
You're kicking with the hand up, right?
I'm grooving. Everyone has AIDS.
Fantastic editing as always.
Tony Stark is able to keep this up. I mean, God forbid he ever gets erectile dysfunction. Otherwise, Iron Man won't be spitting a name anymore. So after Tony mingles with the troops,
I don't want to see this on your MySpace page.
trust me, you won't. The convoy is ambushed as Tony exits the vehicle and runs for cover.
Oh boy.
Ooh, explosion to the face.
Anyone catch William Dafoe?
I am invincible! So Tony gets captured by Afghanistan's answer to the village people, but we're going to have to get back to that as the film flashbacks to 36 hours earlier, as at an awards event in Vegas, a narrator gives us a bit of backstory on Tony.
At age 4, he built his first circuit board. At age 6, his first engine.
But at age 3, he apparently learned Photoshop. Look, I'm a genius too. Boom! Got you. So it's here we're introduced to Rhodey, Tony's best friend, played by Don Sharon's
He'll
Howard.
bounce back with Empire.
His business partner, Obadiah Stane, played by Jeff Bridges, who you can tell will be the villain of the movie because his name is Obadiah Stane. Man, his parents must have been assholes.
And the big
Best
bald
thing about
head.
Tony is also the worst thing. He's always working.
Oh, that is brilliant. Not the joke segue, but the little musical interlude you just heard. That there is a remix version of the theme to the Iron Man cartoon from '66.
Tony Stark makes you feel he's a cool exec with a heart of steel.
Oh, these fucking Easter eggs, man. Oh.
That's
Yeah.
something else.
So Tony heads out, and remember when he was talking about his sexual escapades earlier in the film? Well, this scale borders on superhuman here, as he scores a one-night stand with a reporter back at his place. But his place is in Malibu, and they meet in Vegas. That's
Must
almost
have-
a 5-hour drive she agreed to. Yo, guys,
The powers of
think on the
Travolta
motel,
from Michael.
You know, Vegas has one or two of them.
You must be the famous Pepper Potts.
Indeed I am.
After all these years, Tony still has you picking up the dry cleaning.
Hey, this woman manages to sell out candles that smell like her nether regions. She's doing pretty well for herself, you know. You're just
Yeah, that's a whole other type of video.
Have a whiff. Why does it smell like bread? Yeast infection.
Yeah, it does.
So, after I cleaned up last night's dinner, we cut down to the basement as Tony is working in his garage. And right here something about this film's script, because much like human waste in the Middle Ages, it's often thrown out the window.
It's your birthday.
Yes.
I knew that already.
Yeah, isn't that strange? It's the same day as last year.
Get yourself something nice for me.
I already did. Oh, it's very nice. Very tasteful.
Yeah.
Mr. Stark.
But hey, it works. It really highlights the excellent chemistry Downey Jr. has with his co-stars. The dialogue feels real, mostly because it is real. A lot of lines here are improvised, and many of the reactions you see are quite genuine. As such, it must have been an interesting film to shoot, but more fun when you get to shoot scenes like this.
No, you don't have to be like me. But you are more than what you are. So
Distracted.
It's a hard life. By the way, am I the only one who completely forgot how much of a playboy Tony was in the first Iron Man movie? One-night stands, pole dancers, prostitutes. Oh yeah, Tony is a straight-up pimp in this film. And the deleted scenes definitely highlight that alright. In fact, there's one scene where he sets off to his holiday home in Dubai, just to have a foursome and get wasted.
Why don't you guys get started without me?
Nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they shouldn't have shown this or anything, but it's kind of funny that this property would later become a Disney one. Yeah, Disney's most profitable and iconic live-action character is an alcoholic billionaire pimp. If only Walt was alive to see this. Oh, but don't forget that this Disney lead is a designer of weapons capable of mass genocide. It's cool though, he has flair.
Is it better to be feared or respected?
Respected.
Kind of the same thing.
I say, is it too much to ask for both? For your consideration, the Jericho.
That'd be an amazing commercial.
Damn, that was slick. Completely unrealistic though. For your consideration, the Jericho. Oh god, I think I swallowed some of it. So Tony boards the Humvee as we now arrive where the film left off, as it would appear Tony has had a little work done. Sheesh, that must be horrifying. Airport security is going to be a nightmare for him now. So this work was courtesy of a man called Yinsen, and he's quick to explain that in order to stop shrapnel from entering his chest, he used a car battery to power a magnet. Yeah, thanks!
Many wounds like that in my village. We call them the Walking Dead.
Do you call them that because it takes them weeks to find refuge, only for them to realise it's unsafe to stay, then they fuck off and find somewhere else, only to realise that's unsafe too, and they keep repeating that same shit for several seasons? Sorry, I went off on a tangent there. Continue.
I see, so it's personal?
Well, Yinsen's a captive too, as the real kidnappers
He was a fun character.
show up to issue their demands.
Saru, Jericho.
We want you to build the missile.
اللي انت كنت بتعرضه على الناس.
The Jericho missile that you don't
نزل ايدك.
You know, man, seeing as how these guys don't speak English, you could always tell a white lie or two.
سفاح. وقتل قتلة.
He says, "Welcome, Tony Stark, the most handsome, well-endowed man in America."
أنا فخور بمعرفتك.
He's immensely envious of your pecs.
عاوزك تعمل لي صاروخ جرب.
He wants you to sign his Iron Man artwork.
اللي انت كنت بتعرضه على الناس.
His Rule 34 Iron Man artwork.
نزل ايدك. فهمه.
We've got to get out of here.
Agreed?
So Afghan Santa isn't playing around as he forces Tony to build him the Jericho missile we saw earlier, and after a quick pep talk from Yinsen, Tony kicks in the gear and gets to work. First on the agenda is an upgrade to his Magnum shrapnel.
Awesome sequence.
doesn't look like the Jericho missile.
That's because it's a miniaturized arc reactor.
A man called Marcellus Wallace used to keep it in his briefcase.
Keep that in the heart of my heart.
Unfortunately for the two men though, a wealth of guards patrol the caves, so it would appear here Tony and Yinsen are completely stuck and are doomed to die once their task is complete. Actually, I'm kidding. They place no guards, leaving the two men plenty of time to build an invincible suit of iron. And it also helps the fact that even when the terrorists actually physically see an actual physical suit being actually physically built, they don't question it and leave them completely alone. Once again, never checking up on them.
Fucking retards, man.
This has to be the dumbest part in this otherwise awesome movie.
Agreed.
How on earth can you confuse a missile with a 7-foot-tall anthropomorphic suit made of iron? Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. Well, as it turns out, there's 2 deleted scenes which kind of explains this. First off, and this one is just a theory, but there's a behind-the-scenes clip here which could imply that Yinsen was initially intended as a villain.
How dare you refuse to break out to sit in the car? You're only alive because of his generosity. You are nothing! Nothing! You understand me?
And therefore, he was put in charge by the Ten Rings to make sure Stark wasn't doing anything stupid. And then Tony somehow convinces him to help aid in his escape. And secondly, there's this dude, who in this deleted scene is a lot more chummy than he appears in the theatrical cut, as he actually allows Tony to take time off building the missile to instead play backgammon. And I'm not kidding here, do his laundry.
I washed the whites and the colors separately. I just folded them. This is the first time I ever washed those. I did fine.
Yeah, that would have been
But
really
that's not the problem
stupid.
here. I mean, how on earth can you possibly film a scene of Iron Man doing his laundry and not have him use an iron? We were on the verge of greatness. We were this close.
That is your legacy, Stark.
So, yeah, thanks to a wealth of time and resources, Tony and Yinsen build Iron Man 1.0, but the Ten Rings are approaching, so Yinsen sacrifices himself by, okay, this bit is surely a reference, right?
Certainly has courage.
Could do it to us if he gets himself killed. Come on.
Maybe.
This gives Tony the time to boot up, as we finally get to see this raging machine in action. Currently less iron, more... Yeah, that's a fitting reaction. But at the very least, the films are nothing alike plot-wise. I mean, it's not as if Shaq and RDJ both play California-based weapons designers for the US military whose inventions end up in the wrong hands, and with the help of a black guy and a white woman, they create invincible metal suits to destroy the weapons they created and bring those that did them justice.
Huh.
That'd just be weird.
What do you know?
Well, Dark Elf guy, you can rest knowing you're not the worst bad guy to ever hit the MCU. But damn, that suit is more bounce back than bloody flubber. Oh, watch your head! Oh, get it, Wade. Oh, whoa. Look, I know you guys got beef, but that wasn't called for.
Right up Main Street.
So Tony reaches the end of the level and beats the boss, but unfortunately, it's too late to save poor old Yinsen.
Yeah, I could see this coming.
Does your family get? My family's dead.
I mean, I'm part of the Kardashian family, so don't be too upset.
A little cheap, but yeah, funny.
Don't waste your life.
He'll get there. So Tony is pursed as he heads out and works up an impressive kill count. But for a superhero film relatively grounded in reality, Tony sure as hell gets away with many a death-directed middle finger here. I mean, you got this bit, which makes me realise that Afghan steel will put Wakanda vibranium out of business. And secondly, you got this bit, which almost gives the nuke in a fridge scene a run for its money. Shoot it down. survived a 1,000-foot drop like your name was Kal-El. Look, just because you wear steel doesn't make you the man of one.
I shouldn't be laughing.
So as Tony crosses the desert, and I resist the
I can give it a little pass.
Lawrence of Arabia theme, Brody manages to find Tony in the middle of nowhere and brings him home. And now that he's back in the States, Tony has two things on his mind: the shutdown of the weapons division of Stark Tech and cheeseburgers.
I want an American cheeseburger.
I'd like a cheeseburger.
I thought we were having steamed.
I'd go for fried chicken.
Good burger, almost a good burger. Can I take your order?
So Tony announces all production of new weapons is kaput, as El Duderino is not exactly impressed.
Well, that went well.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man. I mean, can you blame him? Think of all the people who will have lost their jobs at Stark Industries, or cause their boss grew a conscience. Look, the real-world equivalent of Stark Industries is clearly the defense and security company, Lockheed Martin. You know, because they totally didn't rip off their logo.
It's very, similar.
So it's logical to assume this real-life company and this fictional one employ about the same amount of people. And Lockheed Martin has over 100,000 workers. So yeah, Tony came back to do good, and his first act was to put the equivalent of the entire population of Springfield, Illinois out of work. Not a good start.
I think we should take another look into arc reactor technology.
The arc reactor, that's a publicity stunt. Tony, come on, we built that thing to shut the hippies up.
It works.
Yeah, as a science project.
I was staying on this one too. I mean, the last guy to use nuclear fission tech in a superhero movie. Yeah, didn't end well for him. But that ain't gonna stop the Starkster, as he now has the resources he needs to begin working on a new and improved suit.
Actually, don't know who to trust right now.
By the way, just gotta get this off my chest. This man has access to hologram technology, and he nicknames his business partner Obi.
Obi, what are you doing up?
How did you not find a way to reference this?
Absolutely ridiculous.
Anyway, up first is to test some new leg boosters. And not to worry, people. After all,
If my math is right, that always is.
3 days later.
10% thrust capacity achieved lift.
Heads can be reattached these days, right? Dibs on his Audi. Oh. So once I realised that Tony must be in possession of the bloody Philosopher's Stone, and after we find out he doesn't know what side a mug should be placed on, a toast to nitpicking. Cheers. Oh.
Wouldn't be a
Anyway, I would like to
YouTuber
take
without
some
one.
time to gloat about how awesome the score is here. I mean, listen to those strings. I love that shit. Yeah, this backing track is courtesy of Ramin Djawadi, who might sound familiar to some of you. Yeah, that was Ramin. And if you listen close, you can kind of hear elements of the Game of Thrones theme in here, which is neat as the HBO show didn't yet exist at the time. As for this piece, the Mark II theme, I love it. I'm struggling to describe it though, as I'm not a music critic, but the best compliment I can give it is that it's motivating. Seriously, next time you're writing or making something, pop it on in the background and I guarantee it will make you want to get shit done. I'm being serious, try it, it'll make you feel like a fucking superhero. And because of this, it's the best song ever to play during a montage sequence such as this. Well, second best song.
You're the Best Around's a good motivational song too. Just saying.
That's it, Tony. You can do it. And dude, Tony Stark's got a wee. This takes me back. But honestly, back to tech and Tony's not even operating at 1080p. Jeez. So Tony's hard work pays off, and after he and Stan have a quick face-to-face, which doesn't end up at the best of terms.
That's it, Obi. Forget it.
All right, well, this stays with me then.
Whoa! He stole that guy's pizza!
Tony puts together the final touches as the Mark II is ready.
Gauge heads-up display. Check. 4-door preferences from home interface.
Will do, sir.
His mustache looks weird when he's in the helmet.
Jarvis's inclusion in this movie is quite interesting, actually, because Iron Man 1 marks his very first appearance, at least in AI form. Because Jarvis in the comics is Tony's human British butler, but Favreau wanted that changed, because, you know, a certain kid's Crusader already has one of those. Dark Knight came out the exact same year. They really wanted
The Batman similarities are impossible to ignore.
This version of Jarvis is basically a copy of another one of Tony's AIs that did show up in the comics first. So why didn't they just use this AI's name? Well, it was called the Heuristically Operative Matrix Emulation Rostrum. Yeah, once you realize what that abbreviates to, you'll understand why they changed it.
He's named like my name!
So Tony takes the suit for a whirl, and it handles like a dream. Except for when it flies too high, ice buildup occurs, and Tony almost kills innocent motorists.
You don't want him to fail at that point.
It's okay though. He gets what's coming to him.
Kill power.
Turn down for what? Oh, that's not good. Oh, and I really mean that. Not by a fictional sense, but a real one. The car that the filmmakers just demolished for that shot, that was a replica of a 1967 Cobra SE. And how much was it worth?
$50,000.
Couldn't you have given Tony a Fiat Punto or something? Oh no, don't show the on-set footage. So as Tony heals up physically and I heal up mentally, Stark finds out there's a party going on he wasn't invited to. Time to gate crash.
Like a mouse. Like a mouse. Like a mouse. Like a mouse.
Look great, Hef.
Oh, why to you, sly dog? You have the power to be anyone in the world? Of course you choose Hugh Hefner. It's amazing how much sense that makes, knowing what we know now, isn't it? So inside the expo, we see Tony meet up with Phil Coulson. Who'd have thought this guy would get his own show down the line? I mean, rightfully so. Clark Gregg is awesome in the role. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. pretty underrated, I think, actually. Though in this scene, I do have to question why he's even here.
Listen, I know this must be a trying time for you, but we need to debrief you. There's still a lot of unanswered questions, and time can be a factor with these things.
Yeah, we need to debrief you, Mr. Stark. That's why I was hanging out at this party you were supposed to be a no-show at. Guess I lucked out. We also see Everhart at the party, and they do something cool in this scene that I wanted to talk about. Well, actually, it's a case of what they don't do. Check this out.
I was out of town for a couple months, in case you didn't
Is
hear.
this what you call accountability? It's a town called Gomera. Heard of it?
Yeah, Gomera. And if you've been paying attention to the film, you'll know that that is the same village that Yinsen was from. And most movies would have done a stupid little flashback edit to remind you of that. Something like this.
It's a town called Gomera. Heard of it?
From a small town called Gomera.
Remember when Amazing Spider-Man did just that?
Well, sorry, tentacles.
But they don't do that here. The film respects your intelligence and allows you to put the pieces together yourself. So it makes this reveal hit much harder. Wait, Gomera and... Oh. Yeah, for some reason our human brains really like that shit.
Very nice.
So it turns out Stark Industries has been doing some shady under-the-table dealings with the Ten Rings. Turns out they've been a bit busy.
His editing is just incredible.
You know, man, you seem to have a bit of a recurring theme going on here. Patrick, what the hell's he doing?
He's just standing there. menacingly.
Yeah, I mean, I realize this guy isn't the main villain, but he had a lot more potential than this. Tony gave him a scar, and he killed Tony's friend. So they really should have had more of a rivalry, I think. You could have gone with Snake back to America to kill Tony, and you could have attached some lesser-known Marvel villain to him to help spruce him up. But no, this is all he does in the movie. He just stands there and looks evil. And goddammit, I got enough of that from season 8 Cersei.
Not a great plan.
So Tony is pissed. Thankfully not in that sense, as he plans to suit up and kick some ass. By the way, check out how in this shot, you can actually see the energy blast make its way from the arc reactor to the gauntlet.
Huh.
Way to go, Favreau.
Little details.
Turns me on about you.
Me.
Your attention to detail.
Okay, I'm just gonna let this play out, because what kind of madman would I be not to?
Oh, you want to get flagged? Go ahead.
Hey, sorry, man. I think you just got out-suited.
How dare you?
Hey, sorry, Bats, but Tony's got moving gears, terrific VFX work, and an amazing Ramage 5e score. I mean, what do you got that he doesn't?
Cape.
Bad lips.
Well, you were supposed to say a Danny Elfman score, but granted, yes, the Mark III suit is sans nips.
Don't forget my glorious ass.
Can we get back to the movie?
Hey, flood it if you got it.
So Tony flies on over to Afghanistan. Hope he brought some in-flight entertainment, as it's now time to go to town.
Woo! Superhero landing.
You know, seeing as how we have so many heroes in the MCU, I need to find a way to keep you on track with them all, and that'll work. Tony Stark, his quirk, Iron Man armor. This feat of impeccable engineering allows Tony to fly, shoot laser beams, and fire missiles. That's not to mention an impressive heads-up display and an advanced AR system courtesy of Jarvis. It's a whiz of a suit, so much so he can literally whiz in it.
Commercial break part, I guess.
Okay, so check this shit out. It's probably the most iconic part of the movie, and it's worthy of that status. The way Tony sets things in motion here and actually begins to leave before the job's done. I mean, that's some Ken Shiro level shit right there.
お前はもう死んでいる。何？
So Tony flies off, and after he gets into a scuffle with some American jet pilots, he and Rhodey have a quick discussion about how to explain the incidents to the press. Now, check out the technique they use here to tell the joke, because I want to go into it a bit.
Now, what am I supposed to tell the press?
Training exercise, isn't that the usual BS?
It's not that simple.
An unfortunate training exercise involving an F-22 Raptor occurred yesterday.
Yeah, that's a classic Gilligan cut, or sometimes known as a smash cut, or a bicycle cut. Okay, why does this trope have more names than Daenerys Targaryen? Anyway, it's where a character says that someone's going to do something, then it cuts to a scene that contradicts what they said. Right, I've got to get this work done. No way I'm going to bed yet. This is super important. Got to get this work done. Comedy. See, this trope is so easy to do, so you only want to use it very sparingly, and ideally, you don't want to use it at all. Here, though, they use it 3 times in one movie.
He's always working.
Working.
I'm not drinking. I don't want any.
That's what I'm talking about. When I get up in the morning... Training exercise, isn't that the usual BS?
An unfortunate training exercise.
Sheesh, God bless the fact that RDJ was able to improvise, because if they relied entirely on this script,
Had 4 writers.
this guy, we finally get the reveal that him and Stain are working together. Oh, gee, Please don't play that sound effect again. My head can't handle it. But no matter, the two aren't going to be co-workers for much longer. Big deal. Show them Love Island and you'll get the same effect.
Technology. It's always been your Achilles heel in this part of the world.
Yeah, and you know what your Achilles heel is? Continuity. Considering in one shot you got nothing in your ears and in the next, oh, we fucked up. How'd that get in there?
I thought it would have been White Russians.
Back with Tony though, as he needs Pepper to infiltrate Stark Code to get some dirt on Stain.
Go to my office. When you hack into the mainframe, you're going to retrieve all the recent shipping manifests. This is a lock chip. This will get you in.
Ah, God bless you, Tony. I don't think I can trust a woman who advocates for shoving coffee up your ass. What do you mean potentially harmful? No. Movie's irredeemable now. I can buy the advanced technology, I can buy the flying suits of armor, but we all know for a fact that you can't enter a USB device into a PC and have it the correct way up first go. Completely unrealistic, 0 out of 10.
What a waste that is.
Sector 16.
Hey, Stain, just a quick piece of advice. If you want to keep your files and records top secret, probably best you don't put them in a folder called Top Secret. It's okay though. The fact that you shipped the weapons on the MSC Lebowski still makes me forgive you. Fucking thing. Stain shows up and props to Jeff Bridges here, because despite him not technically saying anything creepy here, he sure as hell is acting that way. I mean, you can instantly tell how villainous a character is just by watching how they drink something. No villain is complete without such a scene. So, let's see how Stain does.
He's a complicated person.
Jeff Bridges was so
Oh,
fucking
that's
good in
eerie.
this.
But how about we have a creep off, Jeff? Hi, Gwyneth. I deeply enjoyed the smell of your candle wax.
Oh, Ross.
And I wonder why I don't have more female subscribers.
Can I at least get a reaction from you?
Panic. I would say panic.
Stain is desperate to get his own arc reaction.
That really was fucking creepy.
The team is of no use.
We've explored what you've asked us, and it seems as though there's a little hiccup, actually. Hiccup? Yes, to power the suit. So the technology actually doesn't exist.
You know, this scene right here is just straight up fascinating because there's so much to talk about in this one shot. From a detail I missed all these years, where you can actually see the scientists scurry away in the background because they know Stain is nuts, to the fact that no one could have imagined we'd see this guy in the MCU again, to that this guy is the film's executive producer, Peter Billingsley, who you might know better as the
Yep.
Christmas Story.
Yep.
Not fucking with you, that's a grown-up. To what is honestly, I think, the most memorable line in the movie, delivered in the most nuanced, subtle manner.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave!
He was that friend!
Watch me show how much I sacrificed!
Loud noises!
Sorry, I lose my mind a little when editing videos this long. So Stain decides it's time to take a more hands-on approach.
I know you feel there.
He goes by Tony's place to paralyze folks and hand out cherry berries. And he's all out of cherry berries.
It's a shame the government didn't approve it. There's so many applications for causing short-term paralysis.
So many applications. We never see this thing used again in the MCU, do we?
You really think that just because you have an idea
Great scene.
belongs to you?
Isn't that Apple's slogan?
Come on, it's okay, laugh.
So Stain makes off with the arc reactor and pops it into his own suit. Tony manages to grab his previous one as Rhodey wants to offer some backup and... I am so sorry, Mr. Howard.
Next time, baby.
I'm gonna tell him.
Don't you dare.
Pepper and Coulson, though, had headed into Stain's secret lair.
Looks like you were right. He was building a suit.
I thought it'd be bigger.
But they're quick to uncover Stain's alter ego, the Ironmonger, who who, thanks to his size, has the most unusual form
Very
of transportation.
Hulk-like.
Ironmonger, as it turns out, gets around like Bugs Bunny.
Sorry, I should have taken the left turn at Albuquerque. What the fuck?
So Tony arrives just in the nick of time as he takes the fight onto a street full of innocent Okay, does Tony have a deal with motorists? Because he seems to put them in danger a fair bit.
I love this suit! Put him down.
Poor choice of
Put
words.
him down.
Very poor choice of words.
I had a feeling he'd do that one.
Sustain is on a roll and he proceeds to attack in a way that would definitely impress a certain demon hunter.
Empty.
How's that for road rash?
Nothing's gonna stand in my way.
Obadiah Stane. His quirk, also Iron Man armor, but bigger. Don't get attached though. This guy's gonna get about as much screen time as Venom in Spider-Man 3. So Iron Man and the Iron Giant continue their fight as Tony realizes the only chance he has of winning is to lure Stane up into space to force his suit to freeze up. Hey, it's a good plan, but isn't that what a certain ice-based comic book villain tried to do once?
What's the numbers, Batman?
Ho,
They're
ho,
the
ho.
harbingers of your doom. After you're frozen, your icy doom will plummet back to Gotham.
And who'd have thought the first MCU movie got its inspiration from films like Steel and Batman and Robin?
Let's get some rest.
Sustain plummets back down to Earth, as it would appear the day is saved. The battle is won.
I'll be right there.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah, what is with this movie and people acting like someone used a cheat code to turn off fall damage? Another toast to Jeff Bridges' invincibility.
I never had a taste for this sort of thing, but I must admit, I'm deeply enjoying the suit.
Yeah, kinda cheesy.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Oh, still, you little prick.
Really, Stan? Little prick? Now, that kind of language is uncalled for.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Tony is trapped. He yells to Pepper to set off the arc reactor to override and blast the roof.
Push it!
Look, I don't know why, but I just love the way Tony says, push it.
Push it!
Push it!
Push it!
Push it! He just sounds so annoyed with her. He's like, push it!
Well, it wouldn't be.
God damn it, woman, this is not the time for that kind of shit. Push the button.
Bitch.
You'll die. Lady, I have not been this close to losing my shit with you since I tried one of your coffee enema kits. Push the button.
Shall never live those things down.
He stuns Stane and he falls to his death. And you might be wondering why this doesn't have the same effect on Tony. So we cut to the next day. Tony prepares for a press conference. Coulson's coming in clutch as he's prepared him an alibi. Unfortunately, one reporter is complicating things.
I'm sorry, Mr. Stark, but do you honestly expect us to believe that that was a bodyguard in a suit?
Here she comes to wreck the day!
But Tony is out of shits to give as he delivers the line. Which line? Oh, the line.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
You did not cover it on the shellhead. Only I get to introduce myself like that. I did not get permission.
Didn't-
No. Alfred, call my lawyers.
So that was Iron Man. And what a start to the MCU it is. I mean, this film had a lot riding on it. If it didn't impress, we might not have the behemoth that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, no pressure, Favreau. But most of the credit for this, I think, should go to Robert Downey Jr. He is miraculously incredible as Tony Stark. Because look, it's a tough role to play. RDJ's challenge here was to portray a rude, cocky, narcissistic asshole, but at the same time, make him likable and charismatic? Hello, how was that even possible? But he did it, and it rightfully put Downey Jr. on the map as one of Hollywood's most bankable and popular of stars. The rest of the cast are great too. Paltrow, as batshit crazy as she is, works wonderfully with RDJ. Jeff Bridges is actually, in my opinion, one of the better villains in the MCU. And yeah, that's not saying much, because villains have always been a bit of a weak spot for Marvel outside of Thanos and Loki. But he has his charm, and he does get some very memorable lines. Had his motivations been a bit clearer, he could have stood out as a legitimately great MCU villain. But as is, State's appeal rests entirely with Bridges' performance. And luckily for this film, it's a great one. Then there's Terrence Howard, who is difficult to compare to Don Cheadle, as he doesn't really get too much to do here, but he works legitimately well with Downey Jr., which is kind of miraculous actually, as the two aren't on the best of terms. Apparently Howard was angry that RDJ would take a big cut for the sequel, and that would come out of his paycheck. And when he was asked if he'd like to return to the MCU one day, he simply said, so yeah. I mean, I would have liked to have seen Howard in The War Machine too, but Cheadle is great.
Well, so you get for being an asshole.
There, but also a game. Then there's Ramin Djawadi's score, which, like the villain, stands out as one of the MCU's best. The action is exciting, if a bit unrealistic, thanks to how many goddamn times Tony brushes off
It's a superhero movie.
Big deal. And the visual effects are terrific for 2008, with an excellent blend of practical props with sets and the most excellent post-production magic from the geniuses at ILM. And props to Skywalker Sound for their incredible work too. The sound design of Iron Man is just god tier. So yeah, Iron Man is a triumph. And I'd honestly rank it in the top 5 of all Marvel films. And it's certainly the best of Phase 1. Tony had a hell of a journey in the MCU, so do yourself a favour and relive that journey once again. Starting off with this
Well, I'm reliving it for the first time. Living it for the first time.
The like button. Well, Tony Stark has a quick message for you all on what you should do with it. Push it! Indeed. Till next time.
Okay, let's see.
Hey, what's going on, guys, and thank you very, very much for watching my latest movie review. This review wouldn't be possible without you guys' support on Patreon. So I'd like to take a bit of time to thank my top supporters: Christian Lishka, Cowqueen, Dr. Ten, Goldsboro TSG, Gregorio Vasquez, Jacob Matthew Crawford, Jake Burgess, Joey, Joshua Bowden, Lieber9999, Lord Jackson, Marshall Kaiju 98, Max Stahl, Stephanie Suchiputra, Thomas Wright, and Timothy J. Kilner. Much love to you guys for all the amazing support. Thanks again for watching, guys. See you in the next one.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave!
I missed the part where that's my problem.
I don't want to repeat what I've said 100 times before, but that review was fucking excellent. The Unusual Suspect, Ross John Fearnley, his real name, is an amazing editor, and everything happened so fast that it was hard to catch and, I guess, react or acknowledge every part where he edited himself into film footage. A part of his editing himself into the review that sticks out from all these years is in 2016 when he reviewed Star Wars Attack of the Clones. He edited himself into footage from Dumb and Dumber, and not only did he make it look like he was walking around the set from that movie, but he actually edited his shadow in to move with him. That is, like he acknowledged here, great attention to detail. Like, he has great attention to detail, and he picks the perfect clips to use for one-liners and gags, and very good review for a pretty fun film. And once again, I have not gotten to the majority of the Marvel Cinematic Universe yet. I'm coming into this as a newcomer, both with the film and the review, and to briefly give my thoughts on Iron Man from 2008. I did like it. I was worried that it wouldn't live up to the hype like some movies Like, for example, The Dark Knight. The most praised superhero movie of all time. Really ranked high as one of the greatest films ever made. I fucking hate The Dark Knight. The story, the character of Bruce Wayne. The only thing in it I liked was the Joker, and the film was so bad that it kind of made me root for the Joker. And that's a story for another day, but yeah, I was a little worried that Iron Man wouldn't live up to the hype, but I watched it and it was pretty good. Not the greatest superhero movie I've ever seen, but it was really fucking good. On the scale of 10, I think I'd give it a 7.5. There's a lot in it I really like, and Robert Downey Jr., yeah, he is really great in the role of Tony Stark, Iron Man. Same year as Tropic Thunder, where he got an Oscar nomination, and these films were just great rebirth movies for his career. And the character of Tony Stark, there's a lot I enjoyed about him. He was fun, smart every now and then, and the character, along with the song montages, was just full of a lot of motivation, give a very motivating feel, and the parts I didn't like about Tony Stark, well, even though this is a big part of his character, and I agree, Robert Downey Jr. was able to play him as cocky, narcissistic, and still have him be likable most of the time. But there's some parts where I just thought he was a bit too narcissistic or arrogant, and the part where Obi steals the reactor from his chest, and I think calls him selfish. I mean, yes, he is the villain, but kind of has a point. And Gwyneth Paltrow, she was really good. I agree with Ross. She is on a whole nother world with that goop shit, and I loved his jokes about all that, and the scenes with her and Tony Stark together, I thought, for the most part they were good, but it's when they had the awkward talking over each other, building romance dialogue, that the film kind of dragged. Like, those bits of dialogue I felt just really fucking dragged. I did like their performances. I found that when they weren't trying to be romantic, they actually worked pretty well, and they were pretty good on their own in certain scenes. And the part with Jeff Bridges and the drink, yeah, Jeff Bridges was a pretty great villain. I mean, I'd never seen him really play this type of character before. He was a pretty legit, threatening, intimidating villain. And scene where he's in as the Iron Hulk, just because of the size, I thought he was pretty good. I had a few cheesy villain lines, but no more than you hear from a villain in most superhero movies, and I loved it. He was really good, and I agree with Ross. The motivation could have been made a little more clear, but the final battle was pretty good, and the big explosion that comes from his death was a good way to kill off the character. And Terrence Howard, I didn't think much of him as Rhodey, just kind of there, and I look forward to seeing how Don Cheadle played the character when I get to the other movies, and made a note or two. The stuff in Afghanistan I really liked. The Yinsen character I thought was a good character, although I could see his death coming a mile away, and his death scene was a type of death scene I've seen 100 times. Gives a melodramatic monologue, and then just softly croaks, making death seem way more pleasant than it really ever is. And the ending where Tony Stark goes, "I am Iron Man." Yeah, it's cool that he doesn't try to hide his superhero role, but with the backstory that Agent Coulson made up for him, and a few other parts of the film where he just does his own thing, you can just think, what an asshole. Like, this guy is a PR nightmare. And before I forget about The Unusual Suspect, this was a great review after months of waiting. The last review the suspect did was a game review, which are more analytical, and it's been a very long fucking time since his Toy Story review, which is his last film review, and I love that one. And this is a good start to the year, well worth the wait, and I loved, just like last time, I loved hearing him say my name at the end. And if you would like to get your name in the credits or have him speak it, then go over to his Patreon. He has two, one for his reviews on games and movies, and one for his mashup videos. But you go to his movie review Patreon, you could get your name spoken at the end, and it is very cool and awesome to hear. And Usual Suspect, he is one of my top 5 favorite YouTubers. I enjoy his work, and it brings me a lot of inspiration just for how well he makes them. I try to get my stuff out a little faster than he does, but he works really hard, and you can see just how much work he puts into it. His editing is, as I've said, just off the chart, and he's really got this down, and I wish I had more to say, but just good review. A few jokes here and there that were a bit more miss than hit, but overall, good watch. And before I ramble on too much longer and drag this out, hope you enjoyed my reaction. And if you're watching this, you've probably already seen his review of Iron Man, but I recommend checking out more of his content if you haven't. And if you like this reaction video, give it a thumbs up, and I will hopefully see you again soon, and hope you're doing well in this stressful time.
For the past couple of years, I've been watching people on YouTube do review shows, where they give their thoughts as well as do a lot of comedy. People like the Nostalgia Critic, the Cinema Snob, the Blockbuster Buster, and so many fucking others. And like all these other movie reviewers, I've given myself a review nickname. It's something that I think will grab people's attention, will let you know immediately that I'm a movie guy. And it's a name I'm sure that no one else has thought of using. The Unusual Suspect. I don't want to sound too full of myself, but it just feels so great when you come up with something so original.
Babe, I think that there's something you should see.